Right, what's up everyone? I'm just going to be streaming today just to show my thoughts on the market today, going over the price action, what actually occurred, and what I want to see happen in the future. So I will be trying to answer questions in the comments, so if you do have any questions, be sure to leave them in the stream chat. I will be getting to as many as I can as I go along. Of course, I probably won't get to everyone, but I will try to answer your question if you do drop it in there. So I'll get started right away and people should join up as we carry along. So, firstly, I want to start off on the. Also, before I get started, actually, please do leave a like on the stream to get us boosted on the algorithm. If you do enjoy the content, of course, subscribe if you're new, turn on post notifications so you don't miss anything, and yeah, I'll dive straight into the market. Maybe just post in my Telegram, make sure everyone knows I'm live, and then people will join up. So, okay, we're good to go. Firstly, I wanted to start off on the dollar monthly chart, and I wanted to take your attention to, firstly, this bit of price action down here. So as you can see, we drew into the monthly fair value gap inside here, and we had a tap into it once, a second time, sorry, and then another third time. The body of the candle closed outside every single time, which of course, as we know, is signatures in price. And then from the fair value gap, we ran up. We had 3 months where we ran up, and then had some rejection from this gap inside here. Now, of course, we want to see premium arrays, which is this gap here, disrespected when bullish, which is currently my bias on dollar. So we want to see this being disrespected. Right now, we created a swing high between these three candles. Of course, the monthly candle currently hasn't closed. So at the moment, I wouldn't count this completely as a swing high. But if we do create the swing high without pushing above this, then that would be a sign that price isn't too willing to continue higher before maybe a retracement down back into the gap. But what I wanted to show you for now is, notice we have these two down close candles before the move up, and we have right now, I think today we drew back into the monthly order block, which is what I was looking for to see maybe some possible upside. I wasn't expecting it today to exactly happen, in New York session, because that would be quite unrealistic considering we tapped into it the day before. But I was looking for it to maybe give a retracement into this sort of area on the daily chart. Now, with that in mind, for today, I wanted to maybe aim for a little scalp to the upside on dollar, which is obviously meaning we're short in GU or indices. So diving into the actual price action of the day, you can see we dipped in, created a gap, which we rode into, and then swept these lows. And there's something I want to point out to you on the bonds chart, which I'll get into, that caught my eye and almost made me I took sells on NASDAQ, and this was a great indication for me to take those sells. So firstly, I want to point out how dollar took the low, and then on, I think it was EU or GU, we didn't actually take the high yet. So EU and GU both offered nice sells, and as you can see here, GU came into the gap. I think this was during news before actually heading lower. However, my focus was over here on these bonds here between the US 30-year, the US 10-year, and the US 5-year. Now, when we are looking for some dollar upside or dollar movement in general, I like to check these three markets for a cracking correlation between one of the three. So I'll get into exactly what that means now. As you can see, the same price action. Now this is important, so take some notes on this if you're going to take anything from this live. As you can see, the price action on dollar and these three are very similar. What I like to point out here is on the 30-year, we didn't take the low which was left on the 14th at 9 a.m. So we didn't take that low. We came up above it and then ran. On the 10-year, if we look, the 14th low did get ran. And then on a 5-year, if we look at the low, it got ran again. Sorry. If you notice the price action on the 5-year and the 10-year, both where it did run the low, notice how it's a bit more stagnant than this. This had a lot of reach to the upside, and it was quite clear. It was quite clean in price action and respecting PD arrays. So as you can see here, the order block, it just missed the order block, but it did tap the fair value gap before moving up, and then rebalanced instantly and ran higher. But I wanted to point out how we keep above this low, and then that counts as our SMT between the three of these. So when we have an SMT between the three of these, I want to look onto dollar, and that tells me that dollar is probably going to give us some sort of move. So knowing that on them three we had an SMT, I was going into New York session thinking, okay, dollar should give us some sort of move upwards or downwards. Of course, because we tapped into the monthly order block, I was thinking more upside. So diving into the actual price action on dollar, we obviously dipped below the low at 8:30, which was when red news occurred. And then we left a breaker here, which got returned into and then ran. We did run this upside here, which is what I'm going to dive into on NQ, and that's where I took a trade. So heading down onto NQ, remember all of this came from the three bond markets and the correlation between them. I saw the SMT on the bond markets, and then because of that expected dollar to give us the move. So if we head over to NQ, as you can see on the daily chart, this is our monthly fair value gap, if I'm not mistaken. Well, this is up here. This is our monthly gap, and then buy side rests up here. And to answer your question in the comment, yeah, I will definitely keep the recording live on YouTube, don't worry. So you can replay at any part you want. So this is our monthly fair value gap. And on the daily chart, you can see we've had massive momentum to the upside. I just want to point out something really quickly. Notice where the retracement happened and then ran higher. It happened inside the order block, which was used for selling right here. So what I spoke about before, on the sell side of the curve, where selling occurred, as you can see, we left the up close candle, broke lower, traded into the candle, and then ran these lows. So where selling occurred previously, we want to see buying occur now. And that is exactly what happened. We retraced back into the fair value gap here. The bodies respected also this rebalance, redeliver price range inside the selling which previously occurred, and then we ran higher. But keeping that in mind that we are bullish until we reach this high, I ran into today thinking, okay, if we get some possible upside on dollar, I might see a little retracement maybe below this low here, which is what I was thinking. I still think we may see that just because of how much leg room we've had here. We may see some retracement and then of course run the highs later on. So what I was expecting was maybe a little retracement inside New York session. And then what also confirmed this idea for me at the same time was the 8:30 red news that we had. As you guys know, I look for 8:30 and 9:30, one of them to give manipulation. And because I wanted some sort of retracement, once we ran higher with this huge wick to the upside, which of course was caused by the red news, then 8:30 gave me the manipulation. Then I was looking for 9:30 to distributors. Now, if you look inside here, the red news took us above the high, and then we left what here. Of course, we leave our breaker because we have a high, low, higher high caused by the red news, a break lower, and then taps inside the breaker. Now, this is exactly where I took my sell from. As soon as we retraced back inside the breaker at 9:30, that is where I took my sell. I had my limit, my stop, sorry, above the breaker's bodies. And then I aimed for, it was either this low or that low there. I think I took partials at this low and then aimed for this one. But look how quickly we reacted off the breaker at 9:30. After 8:30 gave us the manipulation, and then we ran the lows down here. Yes, to answer your question in the comments, sorry, is there always different MMXM in different time frames at the same time? Sometimes see on 1 minute, but not on the 15 minute, maybe on 4 hour. Yes, there's always MMXMs on different time frames. I'm not quite sure what you're asking. Sorry if I misunderstood it, but I think what you're getting at is you will see MMXMs form. So if we have a 4 hour pattern on the 15 minute, I expect an MMXM to form, and then on the 1 minute there might be another MMXM inside that 15 minute pattern. It's all a bit confusing, but once you get your head around the fractal side of things, then I think you will understand what you mean more. Like here, for example, if we have a 5 minute one here, let's pretend this chart was the 15 minute, just for this example. When we come into this breaker here, between our so-called entry at this breaker and this low below here, if this was the 15 minute chart, you may see a 1 minute MMXM between the return to the breaker and then running the low down here. So that would be a 1 minute MMXM. So I hope that answered your question nicely. Yeah, back into the breakdown. So of course 8:30 manipulation, and then because of that I was looking for 9:30 to distribute to the downside, and that's exactly what we did. We ran the original consolidation, and that was where my trade lied. So I haven't even taken a trade this week until this point, because Monday and Tuesday was a bit stagnant, and the news gave us such a big run up that I didn't even want to participate in the aftermath of that. Trying to catch a move after such a big run up is always a pain. This is what I like red news to sort of do, where we have a wick and then we change direction almost. Unlike the red news yesterday, I think it was, if I'm not mistaken. Unlike this red news, it's a perfect example here. Unlike this red news where we run a low, which is cool, but then it doesn't even give an entry and just runs straight up. As soon as we're at this point, I'm no longer interested, to be honest. I'm no longer interested in maybe continued upside or a reversal or anything like that, just because of how much room we've already covered. Whereas red news like this, where we spike up and then run below, notice how we didn't spike up nearly as much as we did with this huge candle here. That's the sort of red news I'm looking to trade. I will quickly, of course I've broken down my trade now, but I will quickly go into GU and actually take a look at this price action, because I think it was quite nice. I thank you for all the support in the comments and everyone liking. Hopefully I'll continue to do these streams. If you guys want more streams like this, where I just simply hop on after a session and break down whatever I was looking for, if you find them useful, then I'll continue to do that. So just quickly on GU, as you can see here, we are inside this monthly fair value gap. So we're inside this gap. If I get rid of this really quick, inside the monthly fair value gap, and of course dollar is inside its order block now, but it was inside this monthly gap as well. So these two are aligned, and GU is the weaker pair out of EU and GU in my opinion. So I was looking at GU shorts. I didn't actually take a trade on this, but it was something I was interested in, and I outlined to my Discord beforehand. So just in terms of this, you can see on the daily chart, knowing that we are inside the monthly gap, we also ran into this up close candle here. So from this up close candle, I thought we may get a little retracement into this sort of area once we ran into the up close candle, because of course premium arrays sometimes get respected, and that is where we can find our retracements whilst in